How Hurricane Beryl from 600 miles away to making Texas beaches dangerous with rip currents. Red flags fly at Galveston beaches along the seawall on May 26, indicating the presence of heavy surf and dangerous currents. Kirk Size/staff photographer. As we continue to monitor Hurricane Beryl, it's important to remember a silent threat that can arise many days before a tropical system even gets close to Texas. The danger of rip currents. Even if a tropical cyclone is hundreds of miles from Texas, it can still generate surf hazards like large swells and dangerous rip currents. The stronger the storm, the greater the potential harm from a distance. As the storm approaches, the threat of rip currents will increase and will be at its peak a day or two before landfall. On average, about 100 people die each year because of rip currents, and more than 80% of all rescues performed by surf beach lifeguards are because of rip currents, according to United States Lifesaving Association. What are rip currents? Rip currents are strong, seaward flows of water that extend from close to the shoreline to outside of the surf zone. They are found on almost any beach with breaking waves and function as rivers of the sea, moving sand, marine organisms, and other material offshore, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Remember, rip currents do not pull people under the water, they pull people away from the shore. Rip currents increase along the coast depending on many factors, but wind direction, wind speed, and waves coming into the coast are important. Onshore winds blowing perpendicular to the coastline are important to push water onto the beaches, said Paul Ura, warning coordinating meteorologist for the National Weather Service overseeing South and Central Texas. The more water that is pushed up, the more water has to return to the ocean and forms the water channels or rip currents. For more context, if the beach or coast runs north-south like in South Texas, the easterly wind will help form strong rip currents. If the wind is more along the shore or in a southerly direction, fewer rip currents will form. Additionally, tropical cyclones that are far away from the coast will produce swells, or ocean waves that are generated from long distances. A typical wave period or timing between waves is 6 seconds, which is generated by local winds. When a tropical system is churning, the wave periods get longer at around 10 or more seconds, Ura said. The higher the swell and the longer the period of the waves, the stronger the rip current will become. How to spot a rip current. Before you head into the ocean, take a moment to step back and look for rip currents. Find a higher spot like a balcony or a dune to get an unobstructed view of the ocean. Wear polarized sunglasses to help you see the contrast of colors and spend a few minutes observing the waves. Asterisk rip currents can be identified as darker paths leading out through the surf, so look for gaps in the lines of breaking waves. Asterisk look for narrow areas of choppy, rippled water heading offshore or spots where the waves break and create plumes of sand or foam. Asterisk keep an eye out for evenly spaced, semicircle, scalloped-shaped beaches, as they can be a sign of rip currents eroding the shoreline. Rip currents can be deadly. Average rip current speeds are a foot to 2 feet per second, but they can reach 8 feet per second, which is faster than an Olympic swimmer can sprint. This makes rip currents extremely dangerous for beachgoers as they can sweep even the strongest swimmer out to sea in a matter of minutes, according to NOAA. From 2007 to 2022, 67 people have died, and 13 people have been injured by rip currents along the Texas coast. In 2023, 2 people died, and this year 2 more have been killed in rip currents, according to the Storm Events database from the National Centers for Environmental Information. Rip current safety. If you find yourself caught in a rip current, remember not to fight against it. The National Weather Service recommends instead to stay calm and conserve energy. Think of the current as a treadmill that cannot be turned off. To get out of it, you need to move to the side of the treadmill. If you're being pulled out to sea, the first thing to do is to relax and remain calm, according to the U.S. Lifesaving Association. Instead of swimming against the current, try to swim parallel to the shore or toward breaking waves, and then at an angle toward the beach. If you can't reach the shore, try to draw attention to yourself by yelling for help and waving your arms. If you see someone caught in a rip current, don't try to rescue them yourself. First, seek help from a lifeguard. If a lifeguard is not present, call 911, and then direct the person to swim parallel to the shoreline to escape the current. If possible, throw them something that floats, but never enter the water without a flotation device.